Hey everybody, come on in, sit down, take it easy. I am Craig Lash. Today I am continuing my efforts to find a budget-friendly sports photography setup for those of you just getting started. So the question is, which camera body did I match up with which lens? Well, I've been doing a lot of Sony stuff lately, so it probably has to do with Sony. Or does it? You'll find out when I get back. For those of you new to my channel, let me get you up to date on what my latest project has been. I've been working on a sports photography setup, mirrorless related, because that's the way photography is going, is mirrorless. That's budget friendly for those of you just getting started in sports photography. Kind of going towards Sony because their autofocusing system is really outstanding. Well, today I'm going to show you what I did. I paired up the Sony a6000 with the Sony 70-200 f4. The f4, the Sony lens, goes for about $1,300, which isn't bad. So $400 for the camera body and that, so you have about $1,700. Still kind of pricey. Now, ideally, you would rather have the Sony 70-200 2.8 lens. So the 2.8 is the aperture. 2.8 lets in more light than an f4, which is f-stop is what it's called. F-stop is your aperture. So ideally, you would rather have the 2.8, but the 2.8 is like $1,100 more than the f4. Ah, that's just crazy. So what do? Well, you got to see the limitations. So I took the f4, this lens. What my goal was, I was going to shoot soccer, girls soccer, high school. Then I was going to shoot some football the next night. Then I was going to take it inside and shoot some volleyball. I figured, great, what a trifecta. Rent the lens, get a lot of use out of it. Okay, so here's what happened. The lens came in late, wasn't able to shoot the soccer with it. The next day, football Friday night lights, game was canceled. So I had my fingers crossed. The next day, yes, volleyball tournament. So I shot volleyball with it, and you'll be able to see those photos. In fact, let's jump into those photos right now. I'll get right to the photos in 1 second, but first let's take a look at a diagram so I can show you where I position myself when I'm shooting volleyball. Usually start right here on this side because most people are right-handed, and I can get some nice profile shots and some nice smacking of the ball as they serve it. Then I'll roam back here down by the wall behind all the players, get some action shots happening at the net. And then what I'll do is usually have a bench right here and a bench over here, and in the middle is a scores table. But in between the scores table and each bench, there's a nice gap on both sides. And I'll usually sit myself in these gaps because then I can shoot here, and I can also get under the net plus shots at the net. So it works out really well. Okay, it's photo time. This is one of those shots I took from the wall. Like I said, I like to roam across a little bit and try to get some action shots at the net. Got this one. It's a pretty good shot. I don't think it's outstanding. Nothing to write home about and say, Mom, look what I took. But, you know, it's okay. A little bit of motion blur. That's because if you look at the settings, 1/640th of a second, then ISO 10,000. Could have stopped some of the motion blur, but then I'd have to up the shutter speed, and I'm already at 10,000. I'd probably have to raise that, and I didn't want to push the camera that much. If you zoom in, you can see all the noise. That's from shooting at 10,000 ISO. Here's one of the shots that they were serving with. Now this one, I was close to the scores table when I shot this one. You see it's a fine shot. It's in focus, looks good. Very, very noisy again. This one I dropped down to 1/500th of a second just to see what would happen. And you got to get a shot of them spiking the ball. Again, at 1/500th of a second, I wanted to see how much motion blur there would be. And you can see some motion blur up there. And I usually I don't mind a little bit of motion blur. This one's probably acceptable, but still, I like to freeze it just a little more than that. Got some good colors going on, but again, when you zoom in 1:1, you can see lots of noise. This one here is one of my favorite shots. I like this one because you got them both touching the ball. Got some focus, a little bit of motion blur, not bad. Again, I'm down to 1/500th of a second, so I'm testing things out to see what this camera lens combination can do. Cool looking shot though. Again, you got so much noise. I'll be honest, I thought the noise wouldn't be quite as bad after all the reviews I read and some of the videos I've seen. Then we have this nice little shot setting the ball. I like this one. It's got some cool action going on. You got some face, you got eyes, you got ball, you got another player back here ready to see what's going to happen next. Zooming in, you can see the noise. Not quite as bad on this one. And I did notice on a lot of these photos, the closer I was to the subject, the less noise there seemed to be showing up. as opposed to if it's a distant shot across court. I like the shot a lot. That's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and edit a couple of these photos. Maybe let's just edit two. We'll edit this one. I would probably add a little more exposure to it, not much, just a little bit. Let's go and throw a little contrast. Let's add some clarity. Let's see what we can do with this. Do a little profile correction. And now's the fun part. Let's see what this does to it. We're going to add some noise reduction. Now, if we go all the way up here, smooths that out way too much and it just looks unnatural. It doesn't look good. But I bet if we go maybe halfway, brings back some of the sharpness. See, now that's not bad. I still think that's too much. I'd come down just a little bit more. There we go. That's not bad. I like that. Let's see. Let's straighten it up just a little bit. And if you wanted, you could crop it. See how it does cropping. There you go. See, that's pretty good. I would also probably drop the saturation just a little. Just a little bit. All right. So see, that's not bad. That's a pretty good looking shot for this camera lens combination. Now let's do this one. So let's up the exposure just a little bit again. A little bit of contrast, a little bit of clarity. When you have this much noise you're working with, you don't want to add too much of that. Lens correction, and we'll do that again. So that's looking pretty good. See, it's still a little noisy, but it's not bad. It's just a little noise reduction added. And last thing I would do, I still think, let's drop the saturation just a little. I want to get those skin tones a little better. Out of the 1,000+ photos I shot, I narrowed it down to about 85, and then I chopped that down to about 30. That'd be the amount I would send out to the public if they wanted to purchase any of these photos. Overall, I think the lens is a great lens. It did really well in these conditions, surprisingly. I'm not sold on it. I wouldn't buy the Sony F4 lens and put it with this camera. Too much noise for me in these low light conditions. If you have a lot of light, I think it'd be a super combination. And hopefully in the future I can test that out for you guys as well. I love that sound. I don't like shooting at high frame rates, but that sound is just cool. Okay, so let me ask you guys this question. Did you like the photos you saw? Did you hate them? Did you think, they were okay? Let me know in the comments. Also, don't forget, subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell because I have another video coming out where I take the Sony a6000 and I pair it up with 50mm 1.8 Sony and take it to a volleyball game. I'll show you those photos and talk about that as well. All right, everybody, have a great time out there. I'll see you in the next video. Oh, hey, don't forget, get out and shoot.